When I say MIT, what is the first thing you think of? Maybe you imagine computer science nerds, world-class professors, maybe some genius alumni like Sal Khan or something. Well, the real answer is you should be thinking of me. Over the years, I feel like my defining characteristic on YouTube has been keeping it real, and today, keep it real, I will. No trying to pretend like my life is better because of the college I go to. This is straight up why MIT wasn't worth it, at least for me. With that being said, I don't know why I'm wearing the shirts. I'm gonna go change, BRB. Alright, much better. How do I look? Do not answer that. Okay, I will never feel smart again. MIT's winter break is about 6 weeks long, and I have had the privilege of clearing out the messages I used to send to my friends on my phone. And I don't know how people used to fuck with me, like, at all. An embarrassingly large part of my self-identity was based around the fact that I was smart. I very vividly remember when I was 12, my sister came up to me and was like, when you grow up and you no longer have grades to use as like your ultimate motivation in life, what is going to give you any sense of satisfaction when you're 25, 30, 75 years old? And you know the really sad thing about that is I genuinely did not know what the answer to that question was. When the feeling of being intelligent was completely taken away from me, I was forced to learn about who I was outside of just being smart. I mean, imagine this kid who just came out of puberty, has been a nerdy loser for his entire life, hung out with his friends outside of school for a maximum of about 2 times per month, and then in a couple weeks you ask him to find a completely new identity. Now you can see why this was a little bit shocking to me. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't necessarily call myself dumb for MIT. I mean, I don't mean to brag, but I actually got 100 on my final for what people call one of MIT's hardest classes. Dude, what are you doing? Dude, don't show the net. But seriously, I do get pretty decent grades. I'm not failing out of school or anything. For most of college, I've worked my ass off reviewing concepts immediately after lecture for hours when I didn't understand them. Staying up until 6 a.m. to finish minor assignments. And I was basically just going the whole 9 yards, going all out when the people around me seemed to just be chilling whenever they happened to take the same class as me. AKA the classes that were considered easy on their schedule. I've been looking for full-time jobs for a while now, and I've just been hit with this really limiting self-belief that I'm just not good enough for a good job, so to speak. After 3.5 years of being made to feel like a fraud over and over again by MIT, it's hard for me to feel like I actually deserve the same opportunities as other people. I wouldn't call all of this trauma per se, but I would say my experience at MIT has been at least trauma adjacent, if that makes sense. When you go from being called a gifted child for all of your life to being constantly shown just how unskilled you are, you start to develop some strange habits in order to deal with these negative emotions. Oops, got your coping skills. Now let's see what we got. That's not a coping skill. Neither is that, Jesus Christ. Dude, what are you doing? Now, obviously, I know that in the long run, having an MIT degree will give me some sort of advantage in getting good jobs, so to speak. You know, maybe doing analytics at a big tech firm or even doing software engineering at Facebook. But this just leads me to my next point, which is I realized I'm just not that ambitious. My friends and I were looking at Bob Langer's CV, which is this really world-renowned, biology professor here, and his CV literally looks like a novel. When you try to save this thing to PDF, it is 41 pages long. And I told my friends, like, if my CV looks like that in 50 years, I know I would have lived my life in the wrong way. One of my friends immediately turns, looks at me in disgust, and goes, bro actively doesn't want to change the world. And I guess what I learned is, no, I don't. Change the world? Bro, I have a hard enough time changing my alarm every single night because I gave up on going to my 9 a.m. lecture the next day. I just don't have dreams anymore. At least when it comes to my job. I think what my issue was, I was so focused on getting into college and doing what it takes to just get into the doors that I didn't ever stop to truly think about what I wanted to do both during my time here and after I graduated. Maybe if I actually took some time as a child to discover myself instead of making myself a robot who would just get good grades, sleep, eat, and play tennis, I would have actually learned that going to an elite school, so to speak, wasn't the right choice for me. The more and more time goes on, the more I realize I just might be an average guy with a normal value system and normal ambitions who just happens to be really, really good at math. Like, bro, just give me a wife and 2 to 3 kids, like a house before I turn age 40, and a job that doesn't bring immediate shame to my family, And I feel like I'm straight. I feel like I'm good. When it comes to actively trying to make $500,000 a year before age 30 or trying to become the next world-renowned researcher, I both don't believe I have what it takes, and I don't believe it would actually make me that much of a happier person. Wasted potential, a phrase I feel like so many gifted children and athletes grow up terrified of. I used to work my ass off every single day trying not to become another example. Now, you can thank MIT for making me believe I never had any potential in the first place. Alright, what's next here? We have depression. Awesome. Alright, I'm gonna grab my computer real quick because I need to read you a paragraph from my notes app. This is from last year, about 12 months ago during winter break junior year. The note is titled, I'm tired, so that's fun. Quote, you deserve to be happy. Yeah, fucking right. I don't deserve shit. No one does. Some people are just better at things than others. It's become painfully clear to me that other than being born with an above average IQ, I'm shit at everything else. Wow, okay, I've never been happy, or at least I can't remember a time where I was truly content with my life. I'm ugly, I'm awkward, I'm strange in social situations, I'm lazy, I'm a freeloader, and I can't do anything properly without being given a helping hand. Holy shit. I'm fraudulent because I can't fucking achieve the same thing as everyone around me. I'm not like other people, I'm not strong enough to be, I'm not good enough, I will never be good enough. I was in one of the darkest places of my life a year ago, and while it would be extremely, and I mean extremely disingenuous to suggest that MIT was the reason why this happened, I can't say that the environment at the school helped me at all. Just anecdotally, I think there really is a big problem with mental health across this campus, and people talk all the time about how, quite frankly, not up to par MIT's mental health services actually are. I just felt like my life was so forcibly out of sync with who I wanted to be and what I wanted out of my life. That sounded really corny, I apologize. At least right now, there are two things that I value above all else: my personal relationships and my health. At MIT, there is a saying called drinking from the fire hose. You see, I got a book. It says drinking from the fire hose. I'm so funny. It's essentially a metaphor for how students deep throat academics so intensely that it ends up doing more harm than good in some cases. It's supposed to make you more resilient or some shit, but in my case, all it's done is make me feel like I'm shit. Last semester was the first time I got over 7.5 hours of sleep almost every single night, and let me tell you, it is no coincidence that it's the best I've ever felt during a school year mentally and physically. I'm sorry, but I don't think it would be honest of me to say that MIT actually encourages this type of healthy behavior. Sure, you can get a lot of sleep and work out if you truly make it a priority, but when everyone else around you is not doing that same type of behavior, how likely are you to just decide to do it yourself? I talk to some of my MIT friends about this stuff sometimes, and they're like, you know what? I love this for you. You're like a rebel, you don't take 5 to 6 classes a semester like everyone else does. You don't care overly about your grades, and you care a lot about your actual health. I literally go to MIT and have a CS degree. Like, calm the fuck down. I'm not a rebel. Mom, I swear to you, things could be much, much worse. Trust me. Miscellaneous MIT things that just give me the ick. My friends call me the best professional hater on earth when I turn it on, and today I'm gonna put that cap on for like a minute because I can. I actively try not to watch day in the life videos at other colleges because I don't need even more reminders of how my life could have been so much better. It's like that scene in Everything Everywhere All at Once where the overbearing Asian mom tries to tell her husband how much better her life would have been without him. It's like that type of vibe. But when I watch those videos, it's just hard not to notice how fucking ugly MIT is. The campus, not the people. Come on, man. Like, bro, look at this building. I'm gonna give you like 5 seconds to take it in. This is considered like the most interesting building on campus. People actually like this building. Some of my friends say this is their favorite building on campus. I don't know if I'm tweaking, but Jesus Christ, that thing is not easy on the eyes. Just like me. The food is also like fucking awful. I'm just gonna say, I have friends who are actively trying to bulk up and gain muscle and gain mass, right? And they can't do it because they can't stomach enough of the food. As many people are aware, I am perfectly capable of shoving copious amounts of food down my throat. Not other things. The dudes in my comment section, chill out. Even I'm aware of just how bad our food is. If food is truly fuel for our brains, then I feel like MIT is doing the most in ensuring that all of the students here leave the school dumber than they entered it. You've heard the bad and the ugly. but now it's time for the good things. Learning to find who I am outside of just being smart has honestly been the best part of going to this school. I've become so much more well-rounded of a person. I've discovered more of my personality. I've discovered more of what makes me tick. And I have a much easier time saying that I would honestly be friends with myself than I did about 4 years ago. There's also my friend. A lot of them get really defensive when I mention the idea that maybe MIT wasn't the right choice for me. It's not me saying that these people weren't good enough friends for me. I love the people who I've been able to form meaningful connections with here, and I truly wouldn't change much about that part of my life. I just think that going to another school would have given me more benefit in other areas of my life. I think if I never got into MIT, it's very, very likely that I wouldn't have the same platform or reach that I do now in order to do other things and impact people's lives in other ways. Over the course of MIT, there's probably been at least over 100 people who have come up to me and said, like, I know who you are, I've seen your videos. It's weird. Even though I'm making this video, why shouldn't I be happy? I'm the healthiest I've ever been, both physically and mentally. I discovered for the first time, all by myself, what my value system actually is. What matters to me, independent of my parents and outside pressures. The point of this video is that I'm happy in spite of going to MIT, when ironically, for the first 18 years of my existence, I thought the only thing that would give me long-term fulfillment was getting into MIT. Hence this reaction. Oh my god! Let's go! MIT is the right place for many people, but in this moment, I can't say that it was the right choice for me. For those of you still in high school, I want to say that just because you can get in doesn't mean that it's your best option. Even more so, if you didn't get in, please don't feel so devastated, man. Like, who's to say that this place would have made your dreams come true? At least your dreams that are independent of just making your parents happy and proud of you because you got into MIT. Like, fuck, man. I like to express myself, obviously. I like to think creatively. I even like to write. Like, most of the people here don't like writing. It's like not something that's normal for you to appreciate anything that's not STEM. Like, people hate the fact that we have to take humanities classes here. They actually despise it. They're like, why can't I do more coding classes? Like, shut the fuck up. Honestly, shut the fuck up. MIT simply wasn't built for people like me. I feel like it's more so for people who want to get in at least partially out of their own value system and out of their own independent thinking. I essentially both gaslit myself and the admissions committee that I am that type of person. The type of person who would view MIT's challenges as the ultimate stepping stone towards a career as a quant trader making $500,000 a year. Maybe as someone who cures cancer, someone who works at NASA. My sense of self now comes largely from my personality, my ability to be vulnerable, my sense of humor, my creativity, through things like my mental and physical health, and also the mental toughness I've cultivated for the past several years of my life. Notice how none of those things include intelligence, work, salary, academic achievement. None of these things are necessarily independent of the things that I value, but I think the majority of MIT students I met at least partially define themselves off their ability to solve really hard math equations or get elite prestigious jobs. And fortunately or unfortunately for me, MIT has completely taken that away from my life. But that's about it. Stay anxious, everyone. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and don't come to MIT. Actually, come here if you want. I don't give a shit. Goodbye, losers.